Imagine you are floating in a spacecraft, 63 light-years from home. Beyond the glass of your cockpit, a planet slowly grows larger with every passing second. It is the deepest blue you have ever seen. Not the pale blue of Earth from orbit. Not the dark blue of the ocean at sunset. This is richer, calmer, almost inviting. From this distance, it looks like paradise. For a brief moment, you forget how far from home you really are. Then your instruments begin screaming. Radiation alarms flash across every display. Thermal sensors spike. Navigation computers calculate impossible atmospheric conditions. Every warning tells you the same thing. Turn away. But you cannot. Because in less than 4 minutes, that beautiful blue world will become the most dangerous place any human has ever imagined. Its name is HD 189733b. Located 63 light-years from Earth, this giant exoplanet has fascinated astronomers for years. Using the Hubble Space Telescope and NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope, scientists discovered a world that completely shattered expectations. At first glance, it seems strangely familiar. A glowing blue sphere hanging alone in the darkness of space, almost peaceful, almost comforting. Your brain wants to believe what your eyes are seeing. Blue usually means water. Blue means sky. Blue means life. Out here, that instinct could get you killed. Because this planet has no oceans, no breathable atmosphere, no safe horizon waiting beneath those clouds. That stunning cobalt color comes from microscopic silicate particles suspended high in the atmosphere. Tiny fragments of glass scatter blue light, creating one of the most beautiful planets ever discovered. You are not looking at water. You are looking at an entire planet wrapped inside a storm of shattered glass. And that changes everything. The closer your spacecraft drifts, the less peaceful it becomes. Soft blue cloud bands begin to reveal violent motion beneath them. What looked calm from millions of kilometers away is actually moving with terrifying speed. Beauty was only the disguise. The real planet has been hiding underneath it all along, and this is only the beginning. Because before we even talk about the deadly heat, the supersonic winds, or the glass raining sideways through its atmosphere, you first need to understand just how unimaginably enormous this world really is. HD 189733b is roughly the size of Jupiter, a gas giant so enormous that Earth would disappear inside it more than 1,000 times over. From orbit, there is no visible ground, no continents, no mountains, no oceans, only an endless atmosphere stretching downward into darkness. If you tried to descend, there would be nowhere to land. The deeper you traveled, the greater the pressure became, squeezing every layer of gas into an increasingly hostile abyss. This is not a planet you explore. It is a planet that slowly erases the idea of solid ground. But size is only the first problem. The real nightmare begins with its orbit. HD 189733b circles its parent star at an unbelievably close distance, about 13 times closer than Mercury is to our Sun. A full year here lasts just over 2 Earth days. That distance changes everything. The planet is tidally locked, meaning one side permanently faces its star while the other remains trapped in endless night. There are no sunsets, no sunrise, no changing seasons. One hemisphere burns forever beneath relentless daylight, while the opposite side never sees the star at all. On the day side, temperatures climb to nearly 1,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, hot enough to weaken steel. Any spacecraft descending too far would be overwhelmed long before reaching deeper layers of the atmosphere. Electronics would fail. Protective shielding would begin to break down. Every system keeping you alive would be fighting a battle it could never win. Yet somehow, the heat still isn't the deadliest thing here, because the enormous temperature difference between the blazing day side and the frozen night side creates something almost impossible to imagine: a permanent planetary engine. Hot gases constantly rush towards the cold hemisphere, while colder material is pulled back again, forming atmospheric currents unlike anything found in our solar system. These are not ordinary winds. They are global jet streams moving faster than sound itself, and they never stop. The closer your spacecraft approaches, the more violently your instruments shake. Atmospheric models become unstable. Flight computers struggle to predict turbulence that refuses to behave like anything engineers have ever designed for. Then the first warning appears on your display: extreme wind velocity detected. That message is only the beginning, because riding those supersonic winds is something far more terrifying than air alone. NASA's observations revealed winds exceeding 5,400 miles per hour racing around HD 18973b. That is nearly 7 times the speed of sound, faster than most bullets, faster than any hurricane or tornado ever recorded on Earth. Now imagine what those winds are carrying. Not rain, not dust, not ice, glass, not... The same silicate particles that give the planet its beautiful blue color are swept sideways through the atmosphere at unimaginable speeds. Every tiny fragment becomes a microscopic blade, traveling faster than a rifle round. There is no direction you could face to escape them. The storm never ends. It circles the entire planet, driven by the endless temperature difference between permanent day and permanent night. If your spacecraft entered those upper clouds, the first impacts would be almost invisible. Thousands of microscopic strikes would pepper the hull every second. Sensors would fail. Windows would become opaque. External cameras would disappear behind a cloud of fractures. Then the damage would accelerate. Protective coatings would be stripped away. Communication antennas would snap. Solar panels would be shredded into glittering debris. Within moments, the spacecraft itself would begin coming apart under a storm that never pauses long enough for repairs. And if somehow you were standing inside that atmosphere, you wouldn't have time to feel pain. Your nervous system is incredibly fast by human standards, but it is painfully slow compared to glass moving several kilometers every second. The storm would destroy you before your brain even understood what had happened. But even that isn't the planet's greatest weapon. Because while the winds tear apart everything they touch, something invisible is already passing straight through your spacecraft. Radiation, HD 18973b, orbits so close to its parent star that it is constantly bombarded by intense X-rays and high-energy particles. Every second, enormous amounts of radiation pour into its atmosphere, turning the entire planet into one of the harshest environments astronomers have ever observed. There is no protective magnetic shield like Earth's, no thick ozone layer, no safe altitude. Even if the winds somehow missed you, the radiation wouldn't. It would pass effortlessly through metal, electronics, and eventually your own body, damaging cells faster than they could ever repair themselves. And what scientists discovered next made the situation even more disturbing. The radiation isn't just attacking anything nearby, it's attacking the planet itself. Every second, HD 18973b is losing an estimated 200 million kilograms of its atmosphere to space. Observations from NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory revealed that the intense radiation from its nearby star is literally stripping the planet's outer layers away. Imagine watching an entire world's sky slowly escape into the vacuum. That is happening right now. From orbit, long streams of ionized gas trail behind the planet, like a glowing comet's tail, stretching millions of kilometers into space. The atmosphere isn't stable. It isn't permanent. It is bleeding away, second after second, in a process that has likely continued for millions of years. Your spacecraft would be flying through the remains of a world that is slowly evaporating. But even that is only the beginning. Because beneath those violent winds lies something far more terrifying than heat or radiation. Pressure, HD 18973b, is a gas giant. There is no solid surface waiting below the clouds. Every kilometer you descend increases the pressure until gases behave more like liquids than air. Hydrogen becomes compressed into exotic forms that barely resemble the familiar elements found on Earth. The deeper you fall, the more impossible escape becomes. Your spacecraft would first begin to creak. Then the hull would deform. Metal designed to survive launch, vacuum, and deep space would slowly bend under forces it was never meant to endure. Windows would fracture. Support beams would buckle. Warning lights would disappear one by one as critical systems collapsed under crushing stress. Long before temperatures reached their maximum, The pressure alone would end the mission. And if the spacecraft failed completely, there would be no dramatic explosion, no final transmission, only an endless descent into thicker and darker layers of atmosphere, where every passing kilometer multiplies the force squeezing everything inward. Eventually, even the strongest materials humanity has ever built would become unrecognizable, compressed, folded, crushed into shapes no engineer could identify. Yet despite everything scientists already know about this planet, one mystery remains. A mystery that could make the entire situation even worse. Because when HD 189733b's parent star unleashes powerful stellar flares, they collide with the planet's atmosphere and magnetic environment in ways researchers are still trying to understand. Some computer models suggest these interactions create bursts of turbulence even more violent than the already supersonic global winds. In other words, the worst conditions scientists have measured may not actually be the worst this planet can produce. There is no safe place on HD 189733b, not on the blazing day side, not in the frozen darkness of the night side, not high above the clouds, not deep beneath them. Heat will destroy you. Glass will shred you. Radiation will tear through your body. Pressure will crush whatever remains. And even if you somehow survived all of that, the atmosphere itself is slowly disappearing into space around you. But the most disturbing part of this planet isn't what it would do to a human being. It's what it says about the universe. HD 189733b is not a rare cosmic accident. It isn't a single monster hiding among billions of peaceful worlds. Astronomers now believe that planets like this, known as hot Jupiters, are surprisingly common throughout our galaxy. That means many of the beautiful blue planets future telescopes discover may not be oceans waiting to be explored. They may be worlds where glass races sideways faster than sound, where skies are being torn away by relentless radiation, where beauty exists only because physics is creating something unimaginably deadly. The next time you read a headline about a newly discovered blue exoplanet, remember this world. Blue does not always mean water. Blue does not always mean life. Sometimes blue means glass. Sometimes paradise is only an illusion. The universe has never promised that beautiful things are safe. In fact, nature often hides its greatest dangers behind its most breathtaking views. We spend so much time imagining alien civilizations as the greatest threat waiting among the stars. But perhaps the universe doesn't need monsters. Perhaps planets like HD 189733b are enough. Because space is not hostile out of hatred. It is hostile because it simply doesn't care. Earth is not the standard. It is the exception, a fragile island of life surrounded by an ocean of worlds that were never meant for us. Every breath you take, every drop of water, every calm breeze, every blue sky stretching above your head. They are rarer than they feel. Somewhere, 63 light years away, a planet shines like a perfect sapphire beneath the light of its star. It looks peaceful. It looks beautiful. It looks almost like home. But beneath that impossible blue lies a storm of flying glass, supersonic winds, relentless radiation, and an atmosphere slowly bleeding into the endless darkness of space. The universe was never built for humanity. We simply found one small corner where, against impossible odds, it forgot to kill us.